Is there audio now? Can you hear audio now? How about now? Okay, we got audio? Okay, good. Yeah, it was the live streaming software that I use. There was some sort of toggle I had to set. I'm using this for my audio right here, this Blue Yeti, but apparently I didn't have it going. What I was going to say is welcome aboard, everyone. Should have audio, should have video now. Thanks for the patience. Again, this is a one-person operation, so all of these technical troubleshooting challenges, these are, they're done on the fly. I'm not part of a multi-channel network. I'm just doing this. I want to create a very top-notch, good sound quality studio. That's the objective. So Justin says, my first live show too. I watched the show recorded yesterday and noticed a pop on my phone. That's very cool. That's something that I think YouTube has done they've done a really good job with, is enabling subscribers of YouTube channels to know when a live show is going live. In the past, it was kind of hit or miss, so there was no true way to know if if one of your favorite YouTube channels was hosting a live show. So that's cool. Y'all got the pop-ups. Thanks for the heads up on that. Yes, sound. You beauty, good on you, Irix. Thank you. Thanks everyone for the patience. And let's get this show started. Yes. Soar over one. Did you send your Karma back? Yes, I did. My Karma was one of the ones that was recalled. And there's Sean Coonery. Hey, Sean Coonery, welcome aboard to the live show. You can get on top of your case if you want to. It was one of the ones that was recalled. I was deeply disappointed. I was glad that at least with the Karma, I was able to test it before the recall. So I had a few flights. Actually, I posted all of my flights now on my YouTube channel if you want to check them out. And you can see for yourself how the Karma performed in 4K 30 frames per second. Now keep in mind, linear mode, which flattens out the video, is not an option for 4K 30. It only works with a lesser resolution. So you are going to notice fisheye. I did like the way that the Karma flew. And obviously, as I mentioned, I flew it before the recall. I would not fly it after the recall for safety reasons. But I was impressed. I felt that it signals where GoPro can go with this. They had a quality design. For whatever reason, there was a terrible flaw that slipped by their quality control department, and they had to issue a recall. But the actual design of it seemed really nice, and I think my best advice is that GoPro just ditches Karma 1. They create a Karma version 2. When they release Karma version 2, they also concurrently release a camera that's capable of 4K 60 frames per second without fisheye at the same time, and that will better position them to be able to compete with a Phantom 4 Pro that does 4K 60. Now, the GoPro Karma grip, purely awesome, but unfortunately, because I sent back my recalled Karma, my Karma grip was part of that bundle. So I filmed a ton of Karma grip videos because it was not a flying drone. It was safe to use in my hand. So I continued to film with it before I received my return kit for the Karma recall. So you'll see a lot more GoPro Karma grip videos on my channel. And what you may really like with it is the stability when you're running. When you're running with the Karma grip, and I've used the Osmo. I like the Osmo a lot. But when you're running with the Karma grip, you really notice very smooth video. And the level of detail in the Hero 5 Black Edition camera, I feel is really good. Let's see. Let's move on here to some other things here. Yeah, so the Mavic. I still don't have my Mavic, and I still don't know when it's going to arrive. It's very disappointing. I know a lot of people have received the Mavic and are just super ecstatic about it, and I hope that the Mavic that I receive is as good a quality. Now there were some viewers that were commenting about some issues with the Mavic, and that was related to the camera. So I'm hoping that as everybody that's ordered Mavics, once they start to receive them, hopefully the camera issues are not present. And I think that was really isolated. I've only heard it from like one person. It was something along the lines of a blurry image on the camera. So hopefully they'll perform really well. Let's see. Jason says, are the Phantom 4 and Phantom 4 Pro batteries the same? Will they work in each model? No, I've not personally tested that because I do not have a Phantom 4 Pro and I do not have the new Phantom 4 Pro battery. My understanding from what I've seen, what I've read online, is that it seems that in conjunction with Phantom 4 Pro release, that DJI also released a new battery that's an extended life battery for the Phantom 4 Pro, and I think that battery may also work with the Phantom 4. Now, will the old Phantom 4 batteries work with the Phantom 4 Pro? Again, have not had a chance to test either scenario, but it's interesting to say the least. It's interesting they released, they didn't go to Phantom 5. Had they done that, I'm sure they would have probably adjusted the form factor of the battery, so you would have to rebuy the batteries. But it's interesting they went to a Phantom 4 Pro. In the Apple world, it's almost like instead of a new iPhone, it's like an iPhone S. It's kind of that interim version of the drone, but it seems that they likely kept the same battery, which is great. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, it's hard. I know a lot of people that I've talked to throughout the world, they're saying, oh, man, I've ordered the Phantom 4 Pro. I personally have not ordered the Phantom 4 Pro, even though I love the idea of 4K 60 frames per second. It looks super sweet, but it's just going to be hard. Once I get my Mavic, if the Mavic does not disappoint, it's going to be hard to go back to a larger and heavier drone. Not that the DJI Phantom platform is too big, but I remain bullish that DJI will release a Phantom 5 hopefully next year, and hopefully that Phantom 5 will have even a better camera, and hopefully it'll be collapsible. Maybe not as small as the Mavic, but still, having that really pro-grade camera in a more portable and lightweight package. So, let's see. Did someone test video with Osmo Mobile yesterday? That's something I would like to see, some Osmo Mobile tests. And for everyone not familiar with Osmo Mobile, it's a device, like the Osmo that has the DJI branded camera on it. The Osmo Mobile is a similar device, but you can put your smartphone on it. And you'd be surprised. Check out, with GoPro, for example, check out, let me get y'all a link to that. I was shocked when I used my iPhone 6S Plus, and I compared it side by side with my GoPro Hero 5 Session. And I want you to see that video if you haven't seen it already, because that just goes to show that, just because you've got a camera on a phone doesn't mean that the camera built into the phone is poor quality. I mean, it's very possible that your camera on the phone is it may be as good, if not better, than an action camera, which is quite interesting. Let me see here. Be just a second. I got to load this up. Let's see. Yeah, here it is right here. So this was the video test side by side. I felt that the lighting was good. It was an interesting discovery, to say the least, when you look at the comparison of these two. So imagine a smartphone on an Osmo. I mean, that's what it's for. The Osmo Mobile is made to mate with a smartphone. Andre says the Phantom 5 will probably come out in March. That would make sense. It's a new year. DJI's, I mean, they've knocked it out of the park with their products, coming up to, rather, the holiday shopping season. So, I mean, they got the small and lightweight drone that still does 4K. They've got the ultra professional newest version of the Phantom 4 Pro that does 4K 60. And, for all the news outlets and all that, they got the huge and heavy Inspire. But it's really interesting to see what they've accomplished. And, I mean, I genuinely feel sorry for GoPro because, I mean, a recall, it's nasty. But maybe they'll get it straightened out because I like GoPro. GoPro is a very customer-centric company, and I've enjoyed using their products in the past. But they really failed to execute with the drone portion of their, Karma bundle. The drone was a disappointment. Soar over 1, are you going to get the Inspire 2? No. It's too big, it's too heavy, and even if the price was the same, as a Phantom 4 Pro, I would still go with the Phantom 4 Pro, because the Phantom 4 Pro, I can get 4K 60 in a more manageable size and weight. So I have no desire to ever own an Inspire, unless the Inspire becomes a name they associate with a smaller and more lightweight package for a drone. Simon says, I still have the Phantom 3. I may skip the Phantom 4 and go straight to the 5. To be frank with you, I think that's a smart choice. Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4 for me, they were neck and neck. Obviously, with the Phantom 4, you get the obstacle avoidance. But when you're flying in a wide open and safe location without obstructions, that provides little value. I mean, the perception that it provides for people that are far away seeing you fly, you can be like, oh, it has obstacle avoidance. It makes you be perceived as a safer pilot. But in reality, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, there's no people, there's no obstructions around, obstacle avoidance does little for the remote pilot in command. So for that reason, I think that the Phantom 3 Pro and the Phantom 4, I look at them neck and neck. When you look at the camera quality, 4K 30 frames per second, it's hard to distinguish between Phantom 3 Pro and Phantom 4. Sure, the Phantom 4 seems to have a better structural build quality of the drone. It's a heavier type material in my opinion. The gimbal assembly on the Phantom 4 is more internalized. But looking at the actual results from Phantom 4 camera and Phantom 3 Pro camera at 4K 30, it's hard to distinguish between the two. Maybe it's in my mind. It seems like the Phantom 4 may be a little bit smoother, but maybe it's in my mind because I know that particular camera is attached to a more current drone. Who knows? But I think the decision to jump from a Phantom 3 to a Phantom 5 would be a wise one, unless you want to get smaller and more lightweight and do the Mavic in the interim. So, let's see here. Andre says, how far do you think the DJI app has come since the DJI Vision app for the Phantom 2 Vision Plus? I think it's come a long way. And the app with the Phantom 2 Vision Plus was great, but it was just a signal of where the technology is heading. What I really like about DJI is how they've managed to utilize that same app, across multiple drones, and then also the handheld mobile gimbal devices. So, they've made it, if you learn one device, then you can feel comfortable using that same software interface with their other offerings, and then items that products that may come out in the future too. Let's see. Sora Over says, are you going to get your FAA license to fly non-line of sight? Actually, my understanding of, and what you're probably talking about is FAA Part 107. My understanding of Part 107 is that you've got to maintain visual line of sight. The remote pilot in command must maintain visual line of sight with the drone. And that means without the use of binoculars or without the use of a crew that's keeping line of sight. The person with the control in their hand must, at all times, maintain visual line of sight with that drone. So there would be no way to do that. Brett says, I think the Mavic is all I need. Being out in the backcountry like I am, the portability is a no-brainer. Amen to that. When you can get a package, literally this big, and then have some extra batteries, and something that in a large pocket in cargo pants or whatever is even small enough to potentially fit in a large pocket in cargo pants and still have that impressive range. If you're out in a open ocean or wherever where you can test the range, having that in the bag is very cool. And just the size, the weight, and whatnot. I mean, the Mavic is. I'm with you on that. I just want to see the Mavic evolve, and if they produce a modular camera version of the Mavic, call it a Mavic Pro Plus or whatever you want to call it, that would be really cool for the people out there that are using these drones for videos, like a lot of us are. Simon says, do you think we will see Amazon using drones to deliver anytime soon? I don't, not in the United States, because if you look at, if you're familiar with Part 107 and you read it, the delivery would be impossible, because if they were delivering, and I'm not a lawyer, read for yourself, but this is just the way I've interpreted some things that I've seen. If you're delivering something with a carrying goods, you wouldn't be able to follow it. So you would always have to maintain line of sight. But if a drone is carrying goods, in the case of Amazon or whatever other retailer, and then someone not driving a vehicle, but a passenger in the vehicle was flying the drone, they were the remote pilot in command, that would then be... So let me step back. So if there's someone driving a vehicle and there's a passenger in the vehicle that's not driving, but they're the remote pilot in command of the drone, then if they're in a safe and permissible location, that pilot, that remote pilot in command, can likely be in the vehicle, whether it's a boat or a car or truck or whatever, and they can pilot that drone as long as they maintain visual line of sight. But at the point in time where they attach cargo, a payload, to that drone, that becomes disallowed. So for that reason, I don't see, unless regulations change, I don't see how a company like Amazon would be able to legally accomplish delivery by way of drone. I mean, unless maybe I don't know how they would do it. Jason says, I would love an Inspire the same size of a Phantom 4 or a little smaller. I don't know. I mean, if it was smaller, then I would be interested. But, I think when they released it, they went over the top. They got the guys from Mythbusters, which I love that show, by the way. But they got a lot of people, and they really tried to, to pump it up as a super professional drone just so they could charge more. And sure, it will lift more than a Phantom. But, for your mainstream drone user, I mean, yeah, the landing gear that lets up, that would be nice. Why not add that to the Phantom? Why not add that functionality to the Phantom 5? Maybe it doesn't let up. Maybe it's kind of like a tripod, how you got multiple legs and they squeeze together in a small. So maybe the body of the Phantom 5 is this tall. And then maybe the tripod, the landing gear, goes into that body. But when it lets down, maybe it's that tall. Something like that. Instead of popping up, it goes inside. I think that would be really cool. DJI, do you know if the Phantom 4 and the Osmo use the same camera sensor? I have a project coming up and need a camera as close as possible to inspect a Phantom 4 for the footage. My understanding, and I may be wrong, and this is in regards to the current Osmo cameras that are out there, my understanding is that the camera that comes with the Osmo is likely on par with what came with the original Inspire 1. And I can tell you, with the original Inspire 1, I did a field test. I had a friend that had an Inspire 1. I flew the Inspire 1, and that was when I had my Phantom 3 Pro. And I could not notice a visual difference between the two cameras. So for that reason, I would say that the camera currently available in the current Osmos that are out there is likely, and I'm not talking about the high-end RAW cameras, I'm just talking about the basic one. They're likely on par with a Phantom 3 Pro or an Inspire 1 stock camera. So the fact that DJI has released a DJI Phantom 4 Pro would seem to suggest that they likely may release that type of camera for an upcoming Osmo. But I think they're waiting for a while strategically because they released an Osmo that has zoom in and zoom out capabilities. So I think if they released that camera prematurely, they would likely hurt sales of their zoom camera, their premium Osmo camera, going into the holiday season. That's my assumption, at least. Let's see. Bill Farnham says there are no FAA license for non-line of sight. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. You got to maintain line of sight. Link to Mavic, please. Let me get that for you. It'll be just a second here. I'll get you that Mavic link. Sorry, my internet's kind of slow. I got this 1080p upstream, and I think there's some other people in the studio there. Whoa, don't scratch that. Sean Cooner's trying to scratch my leather chair, my fake leather chair over there. That's not good. Not good. Hey, Sean Cooner, you will get demoted if you scratch the furniture. Almost got that link for you. Here you go, right here. And I will continue to add to this. If you haven't checked out my website already, I've got a ton of tutorials, a lot more coming soon. Andre says, I like the design of the Mavic, but the camera does not look good. And again, I haven't tested the Mavic yet, but what I've heard from many people is that it's slightly less quality than the Phantom 4. again, to be tested. The tap focus looks annoying. I don't know. Having not tested it yet, I don't know what to feel about that. Simon says, maybe when the Phantom 5 comes out, people will wait for the Phantom 5 Pro. You have to make the plunge sometime. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. That's going to be interesting. Let's see. Scuba. What makes me mad is here is DJI releasing 2 more drones when they can't even get the Mavic out in a timely manner. No, I agree. And, it makes one wonder, is this supply of DJI Mavic artificially suppressed? Meaning that, I don't want to wait on the Mavic, but I'm going to go ahead and get the Phantom 4 Pro because maybe it'll ship faster. I think that's the mentality a lot of people may have. I have not ordered the Phantom 4 Pro. As much as I would like 4K 60, I want to step away from that larger travel size and larger travel weight. That's why I got the Mavic. I don't want to go back in the evolutionary cycle. I want to move forward, and I want to get a Mavic with 4K 60 as soon as it comes out. Randy says tap to touch only relevant within 25 meters of camera. So is that tap to touch? Is that for still photos or still photos and video? Talking about the Mavic tap to touch. Yeah, so we got some good stuff. Oh, both video and that's interesting. That's going to be I guess when you're up, and you're filming like a landscape or something like that, it's not really going to be an issue. But if you've got an object or a subject on the ground within 25 meters, then you're going to have to. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Wonder why they did that. Michael, no, I don't have plans to get the Phantom 4 Pro. My intent is to enjoy the Mavic, hope that it meets or exceeds my expectations after it arrives, and then probably jump to the Phantom 5 because I have a feeling the Phantom 5 is going to be the next step forward. That's an assumption. Or the Mavic Pro with a 4K 60 frames per second or better camera. Yeah, what Bill was saying, I mean, it's, obviously I'm a hobbyist, but the Part 107 is not a walk in the park. I mean, one likely needs to assume that, it's somewhat palette ground school, and it's not a walk in the park. Don't think that just because the basic rules and regulations for drones that you'll likely be able to pass, because you'll likely fail. Yeah, there's a lot to it. Andre says, the reason for tap focus is because with such a tiny camera, you have to have a lower aperture. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So yeah, what's everyone else excited about? I mean, it's getting getting to that holiday season, and whoa, I got let me get something over here. Yep, you need to come over here. You need to come over here. Get on the camera. Let's see. Andre says, I'm excited to build my DJI F550 hexacopter. Randy says, curious how widespread the loss of control issues are with the Mavic. Anyone know if that's the reason for shipping delays? Honestly, I've never heard of loss of control issues with the Mavic. Now, obviously, with the GoPro Karma, that was a big issue, and they actually recalled. But I don't know. I think the delay. I don't know. My assumption My assumption is that it's likely artificially created. That's my assumption. I may be wrong. But hopefully they get them out soon, because I am really desperate to get my Mavic and take it out in the field. The camera that I use for the stream, great question. I've actually used, in the past, I've used some high-end cameras. But this one, and when I send you a link to it, you will crack up at what I'm using right now. It does have a Zeiss lens, but I mean, it is, if it looks good, I'm happy, because it's a very basic configuration. And actually, I can use multiple cameras. I'm going to order a few more of them. And as the show evolves in the studio, I'm going to have different parts of the studio. So I'll have a workbench where we can have the drone or whatever the subject matter is, have it on that, and then I can switch the camera from that area of the studio to my desk and wherever. So it'll be interesting to play with multiple cameras in this live stream. It's actually pretty easy to do. I've got the control room over there, so I can go to that and switch the camera, change the audio, play a video if I want to. Like when this show started, we had the intro clip that I'd filmed, and then I just jumped from it to the desk. But here's a camera I use right here. I'm about to toss you a link. Sean Coonery, don't type. Do not type. Nope. Do not need you to type. It may not be appropriate for all audiences. Nope. Yep, there you go. Sit on your box. Okay, so the camera that I'm using right now for the live stream is this right here. That's what I use. Let's see. You got fur on the microphone. Let's see. There is a cat pet for Computer Geek Gaming. Now, Randy says, several YouTube videos out there of Mavics running around in circles with loss of control. I think it's any other new product. There seems to be a large camp of people. Apple's or DJI kind of follows the same. They've kind of got the same type audience as Apple. People either love Apple or they hate Apple, and it's kind of the same way with DJI. And I think, not saying that those aren't real issues, but I think sometimes people will go out and try to create, by way of social media and or other tools, the perception that there's something wrong. And sometimes there may be, but I think a lot of the times it's blown out of proportion, and it may not necessarily be accurate. Again, trust your own gut. Get the product, test it, see what it does, and then make your own determination. But I don't buy into all the, when it comes to an Apple product or a DJI product, I don't buy into all the positive and or negative hype. I just try it out myself and see what happens. No problem, Justin. Bill says, miss your sermons. Yep, Drone Evangelist. He's definitely, he has been, he's been away for a while, and he needs to come back with some new episodes. If you're not familiar with Drone Evangelist, you can go to droneevangelist.com, and it's a series of drone videos, and the focus is drone safety. Making sure that you're a safe and responsible drone operator, and that you have fun doing it, and you always spread the message of safe and responsible drone use to others, because there's definitely a perception problem with drones throughout the world, and we've got to turn them into put that positive light around drones so that people feel good when they see a drone and they don't think it's a bad thing. So let's see. Andre says, hey, Irix, if you want to get drones as soon as they come out, go to DJI's website and go to authorized dealers. There's a DJI store near me, and that's how I got a P3. I get everything. No, I like to get stuff through my thing. If you haven't checked out 400orbelow.com, I've got links to all the drones on there. And let's see. So what else we have going on here? We've got, we got, DJI is kind of the big kahuna. Simon says, just curious, how many hours a week do you put into various online activities? Well, actually quite a bit. On a daily basis, I would say online activities probably, I'd say about on the low end 4 hours, high end 6, and then I work a few jobs, run a few companies. So, it's pretty much a nonstop. This for me is a way to relax and unwind and try to be productive at the same time. So, treadmill daily, probably 30, 45 minutes. Eating activities, probably a couple hours combined. So, it's a busy thing, but as with any other hobby, it's important to really go out and and spend the time to get to know it, get to know the scene, in this case the drone scene, and to just really work to try to become a community leader within that space. So. Justin says, sounds like an interesting life. I figured maybe you worked on a cruise ship or something, always at the beach. One of my big components is, obviously going throughout primarily the Caribbean, and that's a lot of my duties in that area. So, yeah, you will see a lot of Caribbean stuff on here, and that's fun. It's a good way to. Brad says, have you considered giving away your older drones as giveaways to promote your channel? Food for thought. Well, I mean, the thing is, everything I do, man, it's like, this running all of this is not, it's not cheap. I mean, everything to be able to continue to produce content. I run this on a skeleton budget. It is a skeleton budget of a channel. There may be a lot of stuff that's perceived as really cool, but it's a skeleton budget to enable this to continue to tick. I'm not part of a multi-channel network. I never intend to become part of a multi-channel. Actually, let me rephrase that. I never will become part of a multi-channel network. I've had multiple opportunities to do so. But when one does that, they give up their own, their creative freedoms. So, it's impossible to run a channel and have 100% creative control if there's a larger controlling entity. And for that reason, I do it on a skeleton budget, but I do what I can, and I continue to grow as much as I can without being without being in someone else's bag, if that makes sense. You want to run it on your own. You want to run your own show, literally, and that's what I try to do. I'm a little outdoorsman. Changed my name. Yep, seen you around a lot, dude. Michael says, how long does it take you to render a video to upload to YouTube? Actually, it depends on the duration of the video. There's several steps that I perform, and I'm going to get everyone a link to where you can see the workflow. So, obviously, the first thing I do is film the content, and currently I film everything in 4K. Once I film the content, I then import the content into my video editing software. Once I've done that, I perform the edits. But then I export it in a way that's optimized. It's still 4K, but it's optimized from a compression perspective to where it's smaller file size to upload. It doesn't take as long to upload. And then once it's uploaded to YouTube, the visual quality of that video tends to be better than other ways that people may export their videos for YouTube upload. As far as time, again, it depends on the length of the video. I've got videos that are, a couple minutes long that may take a few minutes to export. I'm doing an hour-long 4K video, and I'm exporting that with these compression settings. That can take an hour or so. It just depends. And then, do you have a lot of graphics in it? Like text and that sort of stuff. There's a link right there. Check out that link I just posted. The best computer for Final Cut Pro. Within that link, I detail everything. So I detail the computer equipment, the software, and then I've got a video where I go step by step through my 4K video editing workflow. And the same would be applicable if you didn't use 4K. If you use 1080p, there's a 1080p option in there as well. I do 4K because it better future-proofs the content. As we've seen, the popularity of 4K smart TVs is continuing to increase. The prices are starting to go down. And it's hard for anyone to argue that there's not a visible difference between a 1080p TV and a 4K TV. There's a huge visual difference, in my opinion. Not as much as a leap from SD TV to 1080p HD TV, but there is definitely a visual difference. And for that reason, I do everything in 4K Ultra HD, just to better future-proof. Because I think we'll be in 4K for a while, but then obviously we'll get to 8K and who knows what's next. Technology is always changing. Simon says, do you think there's a stigma associated with drones and people who fly them? I sometimes feel a little self-conscious when I fly. Yeah, actually there is, and I've encountered it a few times. So, some of the things and some of the places I've been, it's really interesting. There are people that will come up to me and they're like, hey, Irix guy, what's up? And, it's pretty cool when you're out, you're out on a beach somewhere in the middle of nowhere and people come up and they're like, yeah, man, I've seen your videos, where are you flying today, this, that, and the other. So there's a positive type personality. They really enjoy it. They're excited they're obviously interested in drones because they saw your YouTube content, they recognize you, and then they start asking questions. They're really excited about it. Then you have the camp of people that I like to refer to as the complainers. These are the people, even if it was a beautiful day and they were in a beautiful location, they were having a great day, they would still be miserable because they're miserable people. Those camps of that camp of people, they're the ones that like to bash everything. So, for example, if I ran into that type person on the beach, they would be asking questions like, hey, what's that? Does that have a camera on it? Can you see people from the sky? Those sorts of questions. Because they're trying to build up to the fact that they want to bash you, and they're going to say, oh, you're invading privacy and this, that, and the other. Now, I never had anything go that far, but I do have an example that was quite annoying. But I've had those types of things where people just don't understand it. They don't understand why somebody would be on a beach, why they'd be flying a drone. Obviously not over people, not close to people, but you're at your own end of the beach and you're doing your thing, and people come up because they're curious, what's going on, and that type of stuff. And I've never had it go south in a negative way. I've never had it go that way, but there have been times where I've been flying and people just give you a horrible time, and I'm not going to say who or where or whatever. But there was a time where this guy, I noticed, I was out in a safe and responsible location, and this guy was just staring, and it's not a stare that's a stare of curiosity. It's a stare of, I'm going to try to do something. Well, that's fine. I had a feeling something was coming, and so I got, I waited, and then I saw not one cop car but two cop cars come up. This is great. This is going to be fun. Good conversation. And so the cops come up and, hey, man, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just flying my drones. Flying my drone, rather. Having a good time. And they said, well, gentleman over there called. He said, you're creating some problems, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. I said, what's the problem? He said, you're driving on this grass. And I said, well, is this his grass? And he said, no. He said, well, I said, I thought this was public property. They said it is. And they said, you've got all right to do this. I'm like, okay. They said, yeah, we prefer, instead of parking in the middle of the grass, you just kind of park off to the side. I said, I'll do that. And then the cops and I started talking about the drone. They were curious about the drone. I think it was at the time, I think it was either the Phantom 3 Pro or the Phantom 4. I can't remember which one. But, if you know your rights and you know how to handle people, you can typically, you can come out in a positive way with every situation that you might encounter being a drone pilot. But there's definitely that stigma that just exists, and it's going to continue to strengthen because of the media and how negative the media are. Because negativity and conflict, it creates interest, and that's what helps to drive a viewership up. And I mean, ultimately, the media, they're about those ad dollars, and when they've got conflict, they got more viewers, and when they got more viewers, then they get, they benefit better from advertising. So, benefit better financially, rather. So, it's an unfortunate thing that all we can do is, continue to be as safe and open about drones as possible. Don't make it look sketchy. Be on the up and up, and make it apparent that you're very safety conscious, and that you feel that others should be too, and that you're not out there doing anything creepy. You're just enjoying a hobby, and you're capturing some cool videos. Hey, show those people. If you've got internet service in the area, pull out your smartphone. Say, hey, this is a video that I filmed a week ago. Check it out. How cool is that? And then they may start to realize. And then if they were negative in the beginning, then their mentality may shift, and they may become a fellow drone evangelist and go out and tell these other negative people that, I used to think drones were evil, but I met this dude, And he showed me this video, and it was so cool. And then they become the drone evangelists just like you are. So that's a quick sermon for the stigma of drones. Great question. Brad says, do you know how soon or how late your Mavic should be arriving? I don't know when it's going to get here. And I've got it ordered. I've had it ordered. But one thing's for sure, as soon as it gets here, it's going to be on this table. And this table, there's going to be an unboxing video, and it's going to go out in the field. And then Proud Oregon Cat Mom says, hi to you and Sean Coonery. Hello. And stay tuned tomorrow for a new hashtag Maine Coon Mondays. If you're not familiar with hashtag Maine Coon Mondays, it's a video series that Sean Coonery, the Maine Coon cat, created, the big Maine Coon cat created. And every Monday, he's got a new episode. So you can see it all here on youtube.com/IrixGuy's. Becoming quite a cat celebrity. So that's really cool. Simon says, I was once flying on an empty beach, and a jogger actually came over to give me advice on where to fly. Simon says, I'm thinking of carrying a laminated card with basic laws printed on it so I can show people. Actually, that's a brilliant idea. And to go in line with that idea, something else someone else shared is the, and this doesn't really have to do with drones, but, well, no, that's totally off topic. Brad says, his entire last vlog explains his reasonings. Soar over one. I carry my FAA registration card with me and have showed it twice. Brett says, 23rd for me. Ordered the combo. Yep, and the it's gonna be great to get the Mavic. I know it's been a painful wait for all of us that are excited to test, the latest technologies, but hopefully it won't disappoint. That's the main thing. But yeah, we gotta have fun with drones and encourage others to have fun. We've got to get at a worldwide level. We've got to do away with this negative stigma associated with drones. So, Zahid says, I have Phantom 2. What are the best values in assistant software? Trying to remember what I use for Phantom. Phantom 2, trying to remember. Oh, check out, it's been a while, but let me send you a link to a video. This is how I had my Phantom 2 configured, and maybe it'll provide some useful clues. Be just a second. I got to pull this video up here. Yeah, it was actually, that was the first drone that I flew that I had 4K on, because I was running the GoPro Hero 4 Black at the time. Just got to scroll back and find that video here. It'll be just a second. Let's see. Kevin says, sorry, I'm going to miss the show. Got to head out and shop. We'll have to do it UFO. Yeah, definitely a UFO show sometime soon. Unidentified flying objects. I think that would be a great topic for an upcoming live show. Greg, no ETA on my Mavic yet, unfortunately. But as soon as I get it, I will unbox it on this table, and I will exhaustively test it in the field. And I'm excited about it. Welcome aboard. Hey, this wasn't a scheduled show. There's no need to apologize. Glad you could make it. Simon says, does anyone know if the display monitor you get on the Phantom 4 is removable, like a tablet? You're talking about the Phantom 4 Pro display? I'm not sure if that's the case. I haven't got my hands on it yet. Yeah, so we got just a bunch of good stuff going on here. Trying to see if we got, trying to find that Phantom 2 build. This was the Phantom 2 that I configured. Let's see, it would have been back in, well, let me find the video. It's around 2014 or 2015 when I built that. Let me see. Oh, I know where to go. This will do it. So this link right here, this will send you to everything. This is exactly blow by blow how I configured my Phantom 2. And this was, again, this was the Phantom I had that had the GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition attached to it. So it would create 4K video, which was pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, Randy says lots of commercial interruptions on your feed. Yeah, the unfortunate part about running a show when you're a solo operation, you're not part of a network, is that you do depend upon advertising to keep your content going. So there will be occasional ads. I mean, that's part of it. And there is a fan funding option if you ever want to support IrixGuy's Adventure channel. There's a link if you go to youtube.com/IrixGuy that says support this channel. Now, obviously, that's not expected. It's not required. But tips are obviously appreciated. When are you going to review the new Mavic? Asked William. The new Mavic as soon as I get it. I'm waiting on it to arrive, and I'm disappointed I have not received it yet. It's taking forever. Let's see here. Simon says, DJI need to get their act together from a business point of view, or they will miss out on a whole bunch of Christmas sales. You know, honestly, I think DJI does have their act together for Christmas. I think, the one that will be very worried about Christmas is GoPro, unfortunately, because of their product recall. But I think DJI's got it. They've got the older model Phantoms for people maybe wanting to explore the hobby but not sink a lot of money into it. You know, there's still Phantom 3s out there. You've got the small and lightweight drone that does 4K, the Mavic. And then you've got the Phantom 4 Pro for people needing the bleeding edge camera on a nice and proven reliable drone platform, the DJI Phantom. You got the Phantom 4 Pro for that. And then you got the Phantom 4. So I think, with that, and, don't forget about their Osmos. I mean, they got the Osmo gimbal stabilized cameras. I think that they really, I think that they're prepared from a product perspective for Christmas. Now, and Simon says, I really don't think that Apple will get into drones. I think it's too niche and not mass marketed enough for them to be interested. Honestly, I think they'll get into it in a way, if Apple does get into drones, number one, they may acquire a company like DJI, or they may acquire, or hire rather, engineers that can create something better than DJI. Because I have a feeling if Apple does, if they ever enter the drone space, it'll probably be a situation where they've got something brand new that nobody could have imagined using a drone for. And they will probably pair that drone to work in some sort of creative way with their other Apple products. So when you buy the Apple drone, not only are you buying the Apple drone, but if you don't buy this, you don't buy that, you're missing out. Think about the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch by itself, the Apple Watch Series 2 is great. It's got built-in GPS. But ultimately, if you want to take full advantage of that Apple Watch throughout the course of a day, you're probably going to want to pair it with an iPhone. And, if you got an iPhone, there's probably a good chance that you're probably going to want, either a laptop or desktop computer from Apple to enjoy those photos and edit videos. So they're very smart. And then if you don't want to use your phone, you want to use something a little bit larger, get you an iPad. I mean, it's sickening how well Apple markets stuff. And, if they ever enter this drone stuff, I think we're really going to see, the other companies like DJI are going to be shaking in their boots at that point. DJI was nervous about GoPro, but GoPro unfortunately failed to execute. So let's see here. Let's see. Steven says, "Have you sent?" I sent the Karma back. Yeah. Mr. Grunhunter's Adventures. I had a couple of shirts printed with my YouTube channel on it in a huge YouTube logo. So everybody, that's very cool. I've printed some shirts. You can find them on IrixGuy.com that have the channel, but I didn't put the YouTube logo on it. That's actually a brilliant idea, so that people see it and they know it's a YouTube channel. I've also had business type cards made up to hand out with my YouTube logo on them. It's funny you say that, and let me grab something really quick here. Be just a second. Well, actually, I don't have them in the studio, but I did the little oval stickers. I did those that said Irix on them, and it said IrixGuy's Adventure Channel. And then I did the business cards that have IrixGuy's Adventure Channel on it. So that's actually that's smart marketing. When you're out in the field, you can expose people to your content without them having to discover you online. They find you in person and they go watch your content. So yeah, we've got a bunch of good stuff to look forward to, but yeah, maybe we'll see another player enter the drone game. A serious competitor for DJI, because I mean, what do y'all think? Y'all think DJI will ever be able to become dethroned, or do you think they're always going to be number one in the drone industry? I mean, I know they were the first big name drone company, but do you think there's any possibility that anybody will compete? And if so, who do you think that'll be? Who do you think that might be? So, let's see. I use 400orbelow.com. Hey, Sean Coonery. Sean Coonery is over there walking around in the studio. So yeah, we're about an hour in. This was not a scheduled event like a lot of the live shows on this channel. It's just an opportunity to get together and chat drones and chat whatever else. And it's really cool y'all received the live invites for this live show. I want to continue to have live shows. I think it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the questions and feedback that y'all provide. And it's different than simply filming videos. Filming videos is fun. Editing videos is fun, but it's also fun to get in this studio and and be able to have a talk show. And what I'd like to do is get the software over there that I'm running in the control room to master that to where maybe, and I've done it in the past with Hangouts on Air, where you have like a live guest or a live group of guests in a show. It'd be really cool in upcoming live shows if people had the opportunity to attend live. So kind of like a talk show where you got two people, except in this scenario, we would be virtually in the same studio. We wouldn't be physically in the same studio. We would be virtually in the same studio, and it would just create a new opportunity for everyone. Be able to see a live show with multiple people on it, and actually others be face on video as well. So that'd be really cool. Hey, Sean Coonery. Justin says, appreciate you hosting this. Very informative. Well, thanks again. And any questions you have, man. I mean, questions, comments, whatever, post them. I mean, anything is free game. I mean, it's fair game rather. I mean, it's all about the conversation, because conversation breeds ideas, and ideas create things to talk about in future episodes. So I mean, it's cool. Brett says, I think the show is a great thing. I would love to do one as an interview with someone. Yeah, an interview format would be really cool. The live show, two people, maybe, what would be really cool is to have to reach out to someone big, like some big player in the drone industry, and have them on and just really drill them about drone technologies. Maybe the technologies that that their company is working to create. That would be really cool. Mr. Grunhunter's Adventure says, suggestion, maybe have your mic mounted on something off your table. When you're typing, we hear a loud That's a great point. I need to do that because I do type very loud, and it is, as you can see here, it's in very close proximity of the computer. I do not think Amazon will ever get their drones off the ground. I think if they do, I think I think Amazon's primarily United States based, but if we do see that, it's likely going to be in other countries, because I know, at least the way that, and I'm not a lawyer, but the way that I've read and understood the Part 107 regulations in the United States, I don't think that would be an option for Amazon, because of those regulations seeming to disallow flying without visual line of sight. And if they were to chase the drone in a vehicle, that would be disallowed, because the drone is carrying cargo. Therefore, the drone could not be operated from a moving vehicle because it was carrying cargo. So I don't think it's something we're going to see materialize, at least anytime soon. I think if we can get through, as we had mentioned earlier, the negative stigma that drones seem to have, if we can get through that and really make them become as perceived as safe as commercial airliners, once we get to that point to where people see a drone in the sky versus a commercial jet in the sky with 150 passengers on board, if they can't differentiate between the two in their mind, I think once we've hit that point in the ball game, I think that's the point in time where we may start to see commercial use of drones by companies like Amazon, etc. But I think until we reach that point with perceived safety, I don't think we're going to see it. And Simon says it's too windy and wet to have delivery drones here in the United Kingdom. You would be waiting forever. That's a good point. Drones would have to evolve. They would have to be somewhat water resistant, or waterproof rather. And they would. It's interesting. Justin says Amazon would be a great company to get into the drone business. They are learning it for their own business anyway. They are already making hardware. What if they started making their own drone brand? You know what? That's brilliant. And I've never connected the dots in that way, because obviously they've already got the technology. And if they're creating it in-house, just like some of their products are really cool. If you've ever dealt with Amazon Echo, Amazon branded product, very cool. Their tablets, very cool. The Amazon Fires. The Amazon TV, very cool. And then, then they've got some products that kind of come out and they don't really get that positive perception. Amazon Fire Phone. That was one that kind of got a lukewarm response. But imagine if Amazon released their own Amazon-branded drone. What better channel to sell that drone than your own website, Amazon.com? Think about it. That would be outstanding. So on that note, let's go ahead. We're a little bit over the hour mark. Not that I have a hard stop on these shows, but I do need to go and get out and do some hiking, get some exercise, that sort of stuff, and get charged up to continue tomorrow. And I don't know if I have a live show tomorrow, but hopefully within the next few days. So thanks everyone for watching, and let's see. This show, if you weren't able to watch live, or you had friends that weren't able to watch live, go to IrixGuy.com, and you can find all the previous recorded shows. I'll feature them all there, so you can watch them offline. But thanks for your viewership, and be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/IrixGuy. And follow me on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter too. Y'all have a good day.